Welcome back. And today we have a special guest. We have Marty Williamson, the head coach and general manager of the Barrie Colts. And on Friday, it was a very special night as you reached the 1,000 game mark as a head coach in the Ontario Hockey League. Marty, what was going through your mind when you heard that you're reaching that milestone?
I was surprised. I really didn't know what the number is adding up to it. And, I think one of the most impactful things is seeing the group that I've kind of joined now. I remember coming into the league and Brian Kilray and Larry Maverty. These are guys that I really looked up to. And Brian Kilray came and shook my hand my first game and welcomed me to the league. And to me, that meant everything. And obviously I've dealt with Hunts an awful lot and George Burnett. To join that group, that's kind of the most impactful kind of feeling about it. Other than that, it was just another game on Friday and Saturday, and you keep on going.
And when looking back to when you started back in the 04-05 season, what was going through your mind when you became a head coach in the Ontario Hockey League? Was it, were you like a bit awestruck that you were at this level and now you're here at 1,000?
Yeah, absolutely. I remember being nervous for my first practice, and it took a little while. Like I came from the Aurora Tigers, and we won a national championship, but I knew when I stepped onto the ice for practice that this was a different level. Brian Little skating around the ice, and with BJ Crumb, what an impact those guys kind of made on me. And again, I think those guys, for a young rookie coach, those guys were fantastic. I had actually coached BJ when he played Tier 2. And he was the one that kind of, told the guys to hang in there with this guy. He's okay. And, it took me a little while to get my feet under me, but, I was really appreciative to, my captain and obviously the next superstar that I was able to coach was Brian Little, were my first, so it's a long time ago, but it was an exciting time back then. I know this is what I wanted. It was a dream to be able to coach the Barrie Colts, and I was pretty excited.
And so obviously going back to 04-05, and then now you've got all the changes that have happened since then. What is it that you find that's similar to what coaching was like back then to where you're at now?
Well, the game's changed and you got to change with the game and those kind of things. There's a lot of similarities. Hockey's hockey, and these guys are hockey players, and the development of them are the same. Players are different nowadays. There's no doubt about it. You've got to deal with them differently. And it's one of the things I take pride in that, I think I've managed it with good assistant coaches and hiring younger guys than me that help relate to players, that sometimes my message needs to be said in a different way, and I could say it that way 10-15 years ago, but now you have to massage players a little bit more and explain to them why you didn't need to do that as much when I first came in. It was kind of, they just did what they were told, and players ask a lot of questions nowadays. So I think it's a package with my assistant coaches and myself, and you just but you got to stay true to yourself too. I'm a fiery guy at times, and that's not going to change, and it hasn't changed.
And looking back over the years, what are some moments that have maybe stood out for you while you're during your time as an OHL coach?
Well, the big moments, obviously, the teams that made it to the championship series, and the first one here in Barrie that with Windsor and drafting Reichel's kid and all the commotion that caused, and then having quite a series. It was a great hockey team, and Alex Pietrangelo was added to that team, and so many guys, and that we had, that we built that team from the summer out, and it was a lot of fun that year, no doubt about it. And then a couple of finals too with the Ice Dogs, and but mainly it's the players, relationships. I mean, again, Hunter Tremblay comes to mind as the guy that I just had so much appreciation for. I mean, he never really played in the NHL a lot like Brian Little or Petro and these different guys, but you just when you're around these guys so much, you kind of just get the gut feel on which guys are going to be successful. And Hunter was one of those guys. And whether it was playing in the NHL or just going to school and, being very, very successful up in Timmins, he was just a quality guy. And, there was a lot of them, Andrew Marshall, and it comes. So that's the fun part. The guys gave me the hat on the weekend, the hard hat, and I said, really, the enjoyment is the guys in the dressing room. That's what I love about hockey. As a player, I always loved the dressing room, the banter, the goofing around, but then also 20 guys pulling together to try and get something done, to achieve something. And over the years, that's been the best part. I mean, even that team in Barrie that finished in 7th, and we knocked off the second place Brampton Battalion, and Michael Hutchison was phenomenal in that series. And when we lost in the next round to Belleville, who ended up going to the Mem Cup, but it was, that series was like a Stanley Cup or a Mem Cup for us to knock them off. And there's so many of those kind of memories.
And you mentioned Pietrangelo. He just hit a milestone himself at
Yeah.
the National Hockey League level. So, are you able to keep tabs on everyone who you've coached, and do you follow closely with those guys?
Oh, I sure do. I'm a hockey fan besides being a coach, and and a lot of them keep in touch. I mean, the messages I got, like, again, you don't. It really has seemed like it's gone by fast, but then Cal Clifford will reach out to me and talk about his experience here, and how, I helped him or whatever. It was just a really good experience. And I think about how long ago when I had Cal Clifford, and then it does make me seem like I feel old, but you don't think about it at the time, because it just seems like it's gone by fast. I've loved it. And but a lot of guys reached out. My phone blew up, especially when the OHL kind of put it out there. And my ex-players, and they're pretty proud. Vince Dunn doing so well in Seattle, and I had some great years with him in Niagara. And there's so many. Ryan Strom, another one. There's so many of the guys, so really appreciated them reaching out.
And obviously, coaching is something that you're still passionate about, or else you probably wouldn't be here today.
No, I love it. No, I do. It's I think it's the best job in the world. And to get a group of guys, and and then even take this team that we have right now. I mean, at the deadline, a lot of people told me we weren't going to win another game. And we've played some of the best hockey that we've played all year, and these guys have really bought in. And we know we're not as deep as some other teams and all that, but we sure can put an effort and try and play our best every night, and we're finding some success with that.
And that's got to be a challenging part too, as you develop these relationships, and you also have that GM role. So when you need to make a move, like you saw with Connor Punnick going to Oshawa, that must be one of the more challenging aspects of your job, when you have to do these moves, but at the same time you're looking at the future of this franchise.
Well, that's right. I always say the two worst times are kind of the end of training camp, when you got to make cuts and get rid of the guys and that kind of stuff, and then trade deadline. And it's always tough saying goodbye. Connor Punted was, a special place in my heart for him, and did a great job. But he had kind of come to me and saw what we were doing when we moved a bunch of other guys, and just said that him being in his last year, if there was a way, he was happy to stay with us and be our captain, but if there was a way that maybe I could get him somewhere that he'd have an opportunity to win this year, similar to kind of last year a little bit, that he was interested in that. So I mean, it helped the organization, as far as getting some more draft picks. But, I think it's a classy move by our organization, with our owner, talking to me saying, yeah, this is the right thing if we can help Connor out too. And, kind of make it a win-win for both of us.
And there's a lot of great young pieces on this Barrie Colts team right now. You look at Riley Patterson, Shamar Moses, the list goes on. So really, for Barrie Colt fans, a lot of excitement coming forward in the next couple seasons.
Well, I think so, and I really think, obviously, our fate was kind of decided for us a little bit. First of all, we thought for sure Ensign Thornton was going to be back with us, and then when he had a really good camp, and then multiple injuries have kind of derailed his path a little bit. So he'll stay up with the American League team and try and get healthy, and so that was one kind of hit. And then obviously Bo Akey, losing Bo for the whole year was another one. We did lose Frasca for almost 2 months, and we just looked at kind of where the Eastern Conference was going, and this wasn't going to be our year. And as you said, we've got some great pieces. I think Bo Jelsma will be one of the best overages in the league next year, and then you look at Colville Dwine and Riley Patterson and Aitchison and that whole group of them, Bodie Stewart. I think we've only scratched the surface with him. And so we're pretty excited about this team. You look at Hildebrand was the third goalie with the World Junior team there in the US, and he's played great for us. And we think our future, and now we've got a bunch of draft picks, to maybe help this team. And, we feel pretty positive about us going forward.
And this weekend, it's going to be a tough weekend. You got the Saginaw Spirit here tomorrow night. Seeing a couple former Colts with Hache and Hunter Haight coming to town. So preparing for that game, I guess it's a lot of homework for you guys.
Yeah, it's nice that you kind of get them at the first game of a weekend, so you can just kind of prepare our guys for them. But they're a team that's tough to prepare for. I mean, you just don't know what Zane Parek's going to do on the ice. He's a lot like Brant Clark. And, you see him leading the team with 74 points. And my God, he's a dynamic defenseman. And, the Donacio kid they've got back there, they picked up Donovan, obviously Hash. There's so many good players on that team. They're built for a Mem Cup. They're built to compete with the best in the country. And, we played them awfully tough down in their building. I thought we played a really good game down there, and we got excellent goaltending. We lost in overtime to them. And if we can put that kind of effort forward, you never know. We're not quite in their weight class this year, but with the great effort that we think we can hang in there.
Well, Marty, thanks for doing this, and again, congrats. And I guess you're keeping pace with Gene Pereira on the longevity in the Ontario Hockey League.
Yeah, well, that's he's a great guy to keep pace with. We think the world of Gene, and really appreciate you doing this too. And thanks a lot, Mike.
So that was Barrie Colts head coach and general manager Marty Williamson, and it's pretty exciting to see what Marty's been able to do with this team. As he said in that interview, a lot of people were picking Barrie not to win much after the OHL trade deadline, but here they are chasing the Kingston Frontenacs in that 7th spot, just 4 points separating them right now. So it's going to be an exciting finish for sure for the Barrie Colts, but the future is obviously bright as we touched on the young talent going into next season and beyond. Marty Williamson looking to build on that total. And what's really neat is that he's only the 7th coach in OHL history to reach the 1,000 game coached mark. And he hasn't missed the playoffs yet, is my understanding, in his OHL coaching career. So things looking up for Marty Williamson and the rest of the Barrie Colts. They're back in action tomorrow night against the Saginaw Spirit. Puck drop is at 7 p.m. Gene Pereira and I will have the call along with Thomas West ringside. And then the Barrie Colts, they're back Saturday night as they get ready to take on the Ottawa 67s. That's a 7:30 puck drop. And that's actually going to be our first look at Ottawa. They haven't been to the Saddleland Arena yet this season. Their first of 2 meetings at the Saddleland Arena in Barrie. So again, thank you very much for tuning in. Remember to comment, like, and subscribe as that helps with the channel growth. And also just love to see the interactions and just the fan support. And we're all hockey fans here on this channel, and we just love to share our ideas and thoughts in regards to the Barrie Colts or even with the rest of the Ontario Hockey League. So again, thank you for tuning in, and we'll talk to you again soon.